Hey, everybody, it's Honesty, and this is the Right Honesty podcast. And as is our custom, when we have a special guest, I'm going to try to prolong it for as long as I can before we reveal who's here today. AG, how you doing?
I hope I don't give it away, but I am so excited.
Me too. I'm doing
Yes.
phenomenal because we have a special guest today. I actually cannot believe that we are about to talk to this person whose work I love.
Love.
Oh my goodness, Miss Alexandria House, how are you?
I am wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Listen, thank you for coming. I almost
Yes.
really cannot contain myself. This is a little bit crazy that we are talking, considering we just did AG and I 2 episodes. One, we covered personal, and then the other one, we smashed all the McLean siblings together. And I was just saying how, like, the Strickland sisters and Niles and the McLeans and the Cyclones, and I'm just like, oh my God. So this is like a moment for me.
Oh, I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
And A House, the funny thing about this is that when HP posted the link and then you commented, we were like, oh my God,
Yeah.
she commented. It was like,
did you see it?
we're like, it would be amazing if she would talk to us. And was like, why don't one of us comment and see
Right.
if she responds? Like, this was the kind of strategizing behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
Because it was almost like getting close to the stage to touch Ronnie or Mike or Ralph's hand.
Right.
I'm sorry,
it was
y'all.
Ralph for me.
Yeah, it was Ralph for me too. I just saw a new edition 2 weeks ago. So it's like being in the front row, A House, and getting the opportunity to touch the hand. And they're like, you come up on stage.
Right.
That's the moment we're having with you right now. No pressure, but that's
y'all
the
are
moment
too
we're having.
sweet. Y'all are sweet. Thank you.
You
As I
are
said-
Ralph. We won't make you Bobby. You are Ralph.
Right, you are Ralph.
Please don't make me Bobby. Please. I do have some act right in me, just a little bit.
Okay. So we have lots of questions. I don't know if we'll get to all of them, but we will do our best. But I am going to bogart this whole scenario and I'm gonna just start with a favorite of mine that I don't think is on the list. So my favorite book by you of all of them is Believe in Me, Zoe and Renee.
Oh,
I love them so much.
I do too.
How many babies they up to now? 7?
Man, I got 11. Yeah,
Lord,
11 kids.
mercy.
And poor Renee, because she didn't think she was going to have one. And every 30 minutes, she's pregnant again.
Every time she look up, she's pregnant.
Right. Which even at the end of that book, where being a midwife and owning Genesis and all of that, she got a plan. And like Zoe says, she got the bougie middle name and everything.
Yeah.
And she hollering and cussing a blue streak up one side and down the other when she was having that baby.
It's one thing when you're on one side of a situation and you get on the other side of it, you be like, wait a minute. We've been telling these folks to breathe and stuff.
Right. I got you breathing right here.
Exactly. So my question is, before we get to the official list, do you think that they would allow me to be their sister wife? Like, what do you think that they're poly? Because I can help with the kids.
I don't think so. I think you have to remember about her sister Nikki. I think she would jump on you.
Nikki would. That's true.
But that is absolutely one of my favorite books that I've written, and I had so much fun. And that's the one I wrote in 10 days.
Did you really?
Wow.
Yeah. I was real crazy back then. I was real crazy.
Wow.
Okay, well, can you set the scene for us then? Because now I need more detail. Like, how did that story come to you, and then you just blaze through it in 10 days?
Well, I'll for transparency, I was not on any medication, and and honestly, my brain moves very fast, so I really do take medicine to slow myself down. So at that point in time, I could write like 2-3 books. At one point, I wrote like 4 at the same time.
Wow, oh my goodness!
And I remember I would sit in the dining room and I would turn Judge Judy on and I would just write. And I was pushing out like you know, 5,000, 6,000 words a day. And it was just, I can't give you a method because it was just steady coming to me.
You were in the zone.
Yeah, I was just in the zone, which I was telling Joan, we were talking earlier, Joan Bassett, and I said, man, it's the best and the worst place to be. I mean, it feels so good when those words are flowing and it's almost effortless. But at the same time, the way I am is I call it being manic with it. I get so manic with it that I won't pee and I won't eat and I won't do anything but write. And that's not healthy, I realize. So I'm thankful for my meds.
Amen.
Because yeah, because I love what I do, but I would like to be able to do it for a lifetime and not, wear myself out.
Sustainable. Yeah.
Now, Alexandria, were you writing full time at that point?
I was.
Okay. So because that's of course that's
early, but yeah, I was. I was staying with relatives, so I ain't had no bills. So I was having a down on my luck point, and I mean I had nothing else to do but write. I just wrote. I believe Made to Love, Real Love, and all three Strickland Sisters books came out in the same year. I wrote and published those all in the same year.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, we were saying even in the previous episode that even the McLean brothers was in a year. And that was with some other stuff coming out too.
I ain't doing that no more.
It's like, okay, yeah, that was cute, but we don't need to do that anymore. But this is actually a good segue into the first question, which is, how did you number one, which career is this for you? Like, is this number 2, 3, 4? Have you always been writing sort of on the low and then things exploded for you? Like, what was the transition to I'm writing because I like it to I'm writing because this actually could work to where you are now?
So I was a nurse by trade, RN.
Okay.
For maybe 12 years, I think. I was a good nurse. I was good at the compassion and taking care of the people part. I did not like the politics of it or the paperwork, I understood the necessity of paperwork, but some things just bog you down. And I legit tried every nursing job you could possibly have because I said it's got to be me. I mean, I'm the reason why I don't like it. So I did hospital, I did home health. I worked in a prison hospital. And then I worked for the state, really seriously, not even subjectively, the easiest nursing job you can get because I wasn't doing any nursing skills. I was assessing people for government programs and I was still miserable. But I knew English was always my best subject. I was always very good at writing. My best communication was through the written word. If I'm, trying to get a point across, like to my husband at the time, I would write a letter, and it's like he got it when I wrote the letter. If I said it, he was like, "What are you talking about?" So I knew I was good at it, and I always loved books. I was a very voracious reader from the time I was probably elementary school, and so I said, "Well, I could try," and I did, and so I say this is career 2.5.
Okay.
I don't talk about career 2.
Okay, that's fair.
Yep, fair enough.
This is career 2.5, and I decided Higher Love I did during NaNoWriMo that year.
Okay.
And I said, okay, I'm gonna see what happens, see if I'm gonna throw it against the wall, see if it sticks. And it stuck. And so I was like, oh snap, let me keep writing. Okay. Because my intention was to do a series, but if no one had bought it, I wasn't gonna bother.
Right.
And so people were reading it and I was like, okay, well, let me keep going. So yeah, that's I really do feel like I found what I like to call my ministry. And so that's where I'm at now.
How did people find you, or how did you find them in terms of like your readers?
The first thing I did was I started, social media. My oldest daughter, had grown children, and my oldest daughter told me about a friend of hers who was an aspiring writer. And I really didn't know what to do. And she said, well, this friend, she just follows a lot of authors. She said, get on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and follow a lot of authors, see what they're doing. And I said, okay. So I started following authors and posting different things, following different people and commenting on stuff, and kind of built a tiny following. I nothing to brag about. And when I put the book out, I just went into some of the reader groups that I knew about. Because like I said, I was a reader first. Went into some of the reader groups and posted and asked permission to post in different groups. And I do think the cover for Higher Love was eye-catching for some people.
Mhm.
And I think that's what caused them to give me a chance. And it kind of just went from there. I haven't had to do much
Mhm.
since then, thank goodness. But yeah, I think getting in the reader groups and just get on social media and just being very authentic. I'm just, what you see me post is just stuff I say. Sometimes I will have just said it and I'll be like, I'm gonna post it.
Mhm.
So no matter how ignorant it is, and my oldest daughter, she'll call me Mama, why? I said, I just told you I was gonna post it.
As
Okay.
someone who enjoys being in your Facebook group, I have a suspicion on some of the things that your daughter might be like, Mama, why you put that out
Yeah,
there?
can
I
you, and
mean,
your son too, your post son child.
Oh, he does it. He called me the other day. Did you post that picture I sent you Sunday? I said, son, no, it's my group. No, I have not posted your
oh,
picture.
there's a new photo. Well,
Yeah,
now we look forward to that. I enjoy
I'm
your
gonna
son's
post it.
photos.
I'm gonna post it because he's gonna keep worrying me if I don't. So I'm gonna post it.
You know what?
I love it.
I appreciate you mentioning going into the book groups, because we're both, HP and I are both members of
Mhm.
several book groups, and
Mhm.
we'll see the admins giving that advice to authors, right? And we've seen some authors who are super new. Lady Nisha, right,
Mhm.
is 2 years into her journey,
Mhm.
and her popularity just keeps growing. And
Yep.
I think candidly it stemmed from, she was engaging in the groups, a couple of people read some of
Mhm.
the first offerings and started to rave about it. And it is
Mhm.
Yeah,
true that reader recommendations catch like wildfire, right?
that's
Because you
it.
you expect an author to say, read my book, it's compelling, it's
Mhm.
entertaining, you're gonna laugh, you're gonna
Mhm.
cry, right? But when other
Mhm.
readers keep coming back consistently and saying, oh my God, I love this book, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh
Mhm.
my
Yeah.
goodness, that sends folks to say, well, let me check, what is the fuss, let me see
Right.
what this is about.
Mhm.
So it makes sense for you to say that that was how you
Yeah.
started getting yourself out there, and then more people started getting exposure to you. Then again, the word of mouth spreads like wildfire.
Yeah. Word of mouth has built my career.
Mm.
I don't know if I've ever bought an ad, honestly. I think I might have bought one or two. But other than that, it's all word of mouth, and I'm definitely grateful for that.
Mm. So A House, can I just then clarify, because so you had said, right, in terms of transitioning at a certain point when you wrote the Strickland Sisters
Hmm.
series, that you were in a transition period. And
Hmm.
then what was the tipping point where you said, oh, I can take care of myself
Mhm.
doing what
Um,
I love, doing this? Which book was the tipping point for you for that?
I would say I'm trying to think of when I moved into my own place. I was only there for like 6 months. I was staying with my oldest daughter in my grandson's bedroom.
Okay.
Like I had a twin bed and he loved it. He cried when I left. I felt so bad.
Oh.
Oh.
But because I'm his playmate, I'm if you can't tell, I'm a kid at heart. I'm very young at heart. So, but he let's see. I think Believe in Me had been released,
Okay.
Okay.
and I had all of those books, and I finally, how you get into a certain frame of mind, and fear kind of takes over, and you're kind of scared. And you're thinking, okay, this is temporary,
Yeah.
and after a while they're gonna figure out I can't write and start reading my book. And when it kept building, because really when I saw, okay, this is something, would stay with me. When the reviews jumped up, the number of
Mm.
reviews I was getting, the sales jumped up, and I said, okay, I had saved money, and I said, okay, I'm gonna at least give it a try. And I moved out then, and I just, I haven't looked back.
Love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
that's awesome. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the Audible original, getting to the top 100 of the whole Amazon chart, not in romance, but the whole chart.
Yeah.
And going from, and then releasing books on audio first, and then moving to ebook, and what that's like. So once you got to the point where you said, okay, I can do this full time, I can take care of myself, how did those opportunities come to you? Did you seek them out? Did they come to you? Were you already speaking with narrators about reading first and then the book coming out? How did all of that come together?
Well, I was just having a conversation with an author this weekend, and I was telling her that when you are doing what you're supposed to do and being your authentic self, I truly believe the opportunities will seek you out. And that's what happened with me. I was just sitting up here writing, and I get an email from Tantor Media, and they were like, we would like to buy the rights to the audio rights for Let Me Love You. And I'm an audiobook fan. I absolutely love audiobooks. Especially as a home health nurse. I was driving all the time. And
I remember you saying that. I remember you saying that you spend a lot of time in the car. Yeah.
And so I listened to a lot of them. And but it never occurred to me that anything I wrote could be an audiobook. I knew about ACX and all that stuff, but it just seemed so, I don't know, unattainable for some reason. And so I was hyped because I was like, what? So we went through the negotiation process and all that stuff. And this is how I ended up doing the whole series in a year. They asked me, how many books do you foresee being in a series? What release dates do you have? So I'm so happy about this opportunity. I'm like, oh, I can get book 2 in June, and book 3 in August, and book.
Ooh, so we was making promises.
Yeah, so I gave them all these dates within the same year, and when I realized what I did, I said, "Oh shit." But I got it done. But and so I think, let's see, Let Me Love You's audiobook came out, I believe, that August of 2018, and then I get an email from Audible, and from one of their editors, and she said, we're interested. We see how well Let Me Love You's doing. We're interested in signing you on to do an Audible original. And I thought, oh, okay. So we went through the negotiation process for that, and I said, okay, the money was right. I was like, bet, yeah, I'll hold it back, because the whole premise of Audible original is for the book to come to audio first. There's a holdback period between 3 and 6 months, and then I can release it on ebook and paperback. And so I said, as long as the compensation would match up to what I would have made in those 3 months, I'm cool. And so that's what we did. Yeah.
So that kind of leads to the next question, the story that you told about kind of the conversation with Audible about the McLeans. So you knew at the outset that everyone was getting a book?
What do you mean?
Like
the
all
McLeans
the siblings
were all you knew you were doing something for all
I'm
of the
sitting
McLeans.
up here thinking about the readers. Yeah. No, my first intention was to write Kat's story in her brother's books, and I did that.
Yeah.
That was my intention, because it was the McLean Brothers series. I gave them a sister, and I already made a fool of myself and had 4 brothers, so I already had 4 books to write. And so I was like, I'm gonna just write her story to have her arc across her brother's books. And that's what I did. And then these readers they pitched a fit. They said she needed her own book that wasn't fair.
Oh.
And I said, y'all, she had her story. What do you want me to write? And so they kept on. I said, well, if I write it, y'all better buy it. And they were like, we are. So
wait a minute, wait. Hold on. But let me make sure I understand this. You were going to leave poor Kat
with Wayne.
No, not with Wayne, having whooped Wayne's ass.
That's true.
For giving her an STI, and that was going to be all she wrote.
No. Remember, in Nolan's book, it was revealed she was with Tommy.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Let me back
Oh,
up.
wait a minute. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's right. Because they get married. You're right. You're
That's
right. You're right.
true.
That's right. Because we just talked
Mm-hmm.
about this. That Nolan, that Bridget and Nolan and Tommy and Kat are running in parallel, and we find that out at the house when they get married.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
And you found out her child's name in Neil's book.
It's
I
true.
gave it all to you.
Okay,
It's
fine.
true.
But still, I don't know that I would have like confronted you and complained, but I probably would have murmured to myself and my girlfriend's
Oh
like,
yeah,
well,
they were having a fit.
I
People,
want to
and
know
I
the
think,
backstory.
and I take it as a compliment because I just think people didn't want the series to end, which is
Yeah.
fine. And it was very fun writing her story. I had a ball writing her story. So, but it wasn't gonna be none but a novella because I sighed. I wasn't gonna write another novel.
Well, no, I mean, and I don't know if you had a chance to listen to our discussion on McLean's. Like, I mean, bravo to you, because had you not put novella on the title, I would
Mhm.
not have walked away from Kat and Tommy's story like, well, this was a novella. That was a full course
Yeah.
meal that you delivered in, the 150 or so pages. Because I
Yeah,
looked at it last week and I was like, wow. I mean, it was a fulsome story. So
man, I tried.
I take my hat off to you in the fact that she didn't have the quote unquote page count that her
Yeah,
brothers had, but she had the same quality in terms
yeah,
of
yeah.
depth of her and of Tommy, and the blossoming of their relationship that her
Mhm.
four brothers did. So
Well, thank
I,
you. I try. I try. Even if I write a short, I try to write a short that you won't be cussing me out at the end because you didn't. It wasn't enough.
yes, Truth, and because I'm blanking on what is her name, Claudette. Is it Truth and
Ah,
Claudette?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Another, right? Now that's a short, but it's
Mhm.
so beautifully done. It packs a punch. It's one of my
Mhm.
favorites. So yeah, no, you definitely, and I don't take for granted that's just that everybody can do that, because everybody can't do that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I definitely acknowledge that, and I thank you, because if you were tired by the time you got to Cat, it did not feel that way. It,
Whew,
it didn't feel like
child.
we were getting like, yesterday's leftovers, because mama was like, I ain't cooking tonight.
Yeah.
It's all you're
Listen,
getting.
you may have noticed I have not done a series with them in the book since, and that's on
No.
purpose.
Fair. Although, I mean, yeah, well, and even, if I even think about them boys, right, which
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of veering out a little bit, but three novellas, which powerful, right?
Yeah.
Even though they're novellas, but they deliver, and it's Ja, right? It's Ja that
Yeah.
was top 100, which is Ja is actually my favorite.
Yeah.
And everybody, folks like their set and folks like their shoe. I like Ja. um, so that's just impressive that, again,
Yeah.
when we're talking novellas, you're still delivering stories that, folks feel like they done been to a full 2.5 hour concert.
Yeah, yeah. I love them boys. I did that purposely. I made some novellas because it was so heavy.
Where
And
did
I
that where
didn't
did
want
that come from for you?
the story, the whole premise of them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there were at that point in time, my late brother was in the hospital, and I would go see him, often, and we would talk about different things from our hometown. And we talked about this family that I ain't gonna name because I ain't gonna get jumped on, but this family that he went to school. He was 10 years older than me. He went to school with some of them. I went to school with some of them. Even my children went to school with some of them, and we
Wow.
were all scared of them.
Mm.
They were known for fighting. They were a big family. They were known for fighting, and nobody was gonna mess with them. And we were talking about that one day, and I said, "Man, I'm gonna make a family like that." And so I made the Mitchell boys, and I started thinking about. I'm always thinking about more than one side of a situation, and I realize and believe that there's a reason for anybody's behavior or the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought about, that there would have to be a reason for a whole family to be that mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's how I came up with the Mitchell boys.
What was beautiful, so many things I loved about that series, but was that the vulnerability, though, right?
Yeah,
These poor men, right?
yeah,
And the willingness, like, once they were with the right person, the floodgates basically came open, right? And I felt that, I mean, because it happened in all three books. I'm not sure why Ja's vulnerability just called out to me more. Maybe because he was the quote unquote, he was the largest of the three. And I was visualizing in my mind, you know, this large man. My husband's a big dude too. And, you know, but not being embarrassed or shying away from the fact that he was crying in front of Trisha, right? And it was like, you hear me crying, you know, and saying to her, you heard me crying out, and that's why you came to me. And I just remember thinking, God, just because, like, we know that, right? Like we're all human in flesh and blood, but you know, society has built up this view that, you know, especially Black men, right? Big Black men, it's like impenetrable and, you know, made of steel and unfeeling. And then you add the layer of violent and fighting and intimidating, and people are afraid of them, not just because they're big Black men, right? But because they were actually whooping ass all the time. So there was a legitimate reason to be afraid of the Mitchell boys, because they did actually whoop ass. But this willingness to be vulnerable and so loving and caring, like all three of them, it was like, you know, they love their women, you know.
I did,
That's a good segue to one of the other questions that we had, which is about Armand. Did you know after Kat's book, or even after Leland and Kim, that number one, you were going to do a story for Armand, and then number two, that it was going to take the turn that it took?
I wasn't sure. I was really deep into the McLeans at that point.
Okay.
So I wasn't sure what I would do with him, but he just never left me. I would think about it. You see, he ended up in Teach Me. He just kind of stayed with me, and he really intrigued me. And I knew eventually I said, okay, I'm doing this Cyclone series. One of them is going to be Armand. I'm gonna have to put him in St. Louis, excuse me, so I could tell his story. Did I know, once I knew it would be him and Ella, then I did know how the story would go, that BDSM would be a part of it. And I knew what, because I know it shocks a lot of people, but you have to remember who Ella's mother is.
Yes.
So it's really not that out of character for her. You know, it's how she grew up. She grew up, in Hollywood, the daughter of Big South. She's mature beyond her years because of the way she grew up.
She done seen some things. Well, can we back up for a second, because so HP has heard me say this several times now recently. I'm beginning to believe you authors, when you all take the position that this is what the character told you, or this is how the character came to you, and you were just a vessel, you were just the instrument, so on and so forth. So with that in mind, what I want to know is, was Ella as his love interest your idea, or did, once you were like, okay, I'm gonna give Armand a story, did she come to you and say, and I am his woman? See, I'm going along with you. How did that play out?
I think I did choose. There was between her and Bridget's daughter. And
interesting.
Yeah, that would be very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, I have somebody for Bridget's daughter though.
Okay. Interesting. Ooh, wait, did we just get an exclusive? Oh,
don't draw attention to it. She might tell us some more.
We're gonna have to edit this out. I'm just checking. I'm sorry. I don't know how I act. I'm sorry. Okay, and then with that in mind, A House, was it always that Ella was going to be bringing the BDSM to the table, or did that
definitely
come? Okay. Okay.
I knew if I did, because I did BDSM light in Teach Me.
Yeah.
But I knew if I did BDSM, I knew it was going to be the female would be the dom, because of that came from a demonstration I saw. They had this event here called Art Without Walls, and basically it was an erotic. It was just an erotic show, but erotic art, and you could paint people's bodies like in shoe. I painted this real fine guy. Okay, let me get back. But you could paint people's
Child,
bodies,
that's another episode.
honey. And they had a burlesque dancer, and they had all this stuff going on. And then in walks this dominatrix, and I was enthralled. You hear me? I was enthralled. I said, what? She had a man on his knees, a man on his back, someone with a ball gag, someone with nipple clamps. She was sitting on a man's back like he was a bench, and she was just it. You hear me? She would call me and, do you want to volunteer? Do you want to volunteer? One guy was trying to talk crazy to her, and she said, excuse me. And he's like, no, ma'am, no, not me. And I said, oh, that's what I'm gonna write right there. I'm gonna write a woman in power like that. So
Okay.
yeah. Because if I were in the scene, honey, I'm too lazy to be a sub. I'd have to be the dom. Ain't no way you gonna be. No.
That is funny.
So then,
go
ahead. Go ahead, HP.
I thought that you had fannied us. So we got Joan to tell the story on the podcast that she was gonna go one way with Fanny, but one of her coworkers had gotten to the end of James. Is that right? I think James's story. James the name.
Albert's story.
I got to the end of Albert's story and was like, oh, I know exactly how it's gonna go. He's gonna nurse her back and blah blah blah. And Joan was like, oh, I can fix you. Yes. Don't watch me.
I have been known to do that now. I have
so okay, because as I was reading, I knew that it was Armand. I knew that Ella was going to be his love interest, but it was not until the BDSM showed up that I was like, wait, this is a whole left turn here. Because I had written the story in my mind. Like I was like, oh, I know what she's going to do. I know exactly what she's going to do. I know exactly how it's going to go. And I'm just going to read
He's
along with it.
Her.
Right. Or whatever. Right. But I was like, then here come the left turn. And I said, well, wait a minute.
She literally texted me and was like, have you started? Because it takes a turn.
I said, I need you to get to 34%. That's what I need you to do. I need you to call me when you at 34.
Yes. And meanwhile, when I got there, I was like, oh, the BDSM stuff. The BDSM stuff. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And I was like, oh, I just, I was going with the story took me.
So, you did not turn, nobody tipped your hand, that you always knew it was happening. Okay.
Yeah, I knew that was going to happen, and I knew it would be unexpected, and I knew some people would have an issue with it.
Did they?
Oh yeah, there are some people that are upset about this.
Interesting. Okay.
But because they said they couldn't see Ella like that. But I mean, this is not 15-year-old Ella. She's a grown woman now.
Right.
I aged her. I would not have done this if she was a teenager. I wouldn't have written the book at all. Because if I'm gonna write it, they're gonna be screwing. So I wouldn't have done it at all, But,
I also thought, A-House, I thought it made sense. And when we talked about personal, I said this, I thought it made sense that you not only just gave us a time jump, but Ella had been through some things, right? And so because we couldn't, I don't even know if 23-year-old, she went off to college, she lost her virginity to a college boy, or whatever the case may be. Maybe there still would have been this resistance of, I don't know if Ella could carry this off, but Ella, found herself in this toxic relationship. It was emotionally abusive, then it got physically abusive, then he, died, and she ain't know, she's in the condo overnight with a dead body and had no, so Ella went through some stuff separate and apart from her sexual exploration. I was like, well, no, we're not dealing with the little princess, right? The princess done some living and got some bumps and bruises, right? So respect the fact that she is now a woman. No, she's not 43, but she's a 23-year-old woman who has done some living and made some decisions that bit her in the ass and got the scars to prove it.
And I know a lot of people, 23 is young, it is, but by the time I was 23, I had been married for a minute and had 2 kids and was pregnant with my third. And I had not only been with my husband at the time, I had sexual experience. So it's different for everybody. And I do realize readers can only bring themselves to a book. I realize that.
Yeah. Well, then let me ask you this. Was there anything that happened in personal that surprised you as you were writing?
Mm. No, you know
Okay.
what? Yeah, there was. Armand was much more vocal than Ella in the beginning, and it didn't necessarily surprise me. It troubled me because I thought, well, dang, the whole book is gonna be him, and I wanted to give both points of view.
Mm-hmm.
And now I realize it's because he was so angry. He was so angry that he was just louder than her, and all I could hear was him for a while. And finally, when I got him to calm down some, I could hear her. But yeah, that I hadn't encountered. Well, I had encountered that before with Touch Me. Giovanni was a little more vocal than Charlotte, but it wasn't as unbalanced as this one was.
And so when did he start to quiet down? Was it he just had once he felt like once he got stuff off his chest?
Yeah.
Okay.
About the time he started acting like he had a little sense in the book is when I could hear her better, because
okay.
It was just anger. He was just mad. Everything was pissing him off. And I was like, dude, you better calm down so I can write about your woman, get you a woman here. So, but it worked out. It doesn't always. I even texted Christina C. Jones and asked, I said, have you ever had it where you hear more from the dude? And she said, yeah, it happens. I said, okay. I don't know.
Interesting. So you were almost like his therapist. Now we start to see why Love Belvin calls herself a therapist. These characters come busting in and got something to say and won't shut up until they've spoken their piece.
And I don't control. When people say, well, I wish you had done, I don't control this. I don't control none. I write it until they give me nothing else to write. That's what I do, whatever length that is. So.
And so do we get everything that they've given you, or is there things that end up on the cutting room floor?
No, and I hate that. I wish I could be one of those authors that gives you deleted scenes, and I don't get them. I just
okay.
I write what they give me.
Okay.
I might tweak it a little bit so y'all can understand it, but other than that, yeah.
Another plot point of Personal is that we find out who Ella's biological father is. Was that a surprise to you? Did you always know it was going to be Claude and not the bodyguard?
Who it was I always knew it wasn't a bodyguard.
Okay.
I didn't know who it was. I did know that whoever it was, we'd already met. I knew that much. And so I had to go back through, because I know how readers are. So I went back through and read through Let Me Love You and Let Me Hold You, because I know folks done read the books 50, 11 times. And if I got something wrong, I was going to hear it. Because I've read several books since then. So I can't remember everything. So I went through and read, and I was like, it's somebody we've seen before, and I don't know who. And Claude, when I read his thing, I said, that ain't going to work. I don't know. I don't think that's him, but evidently it was, because I couldn't get past that. So
yeah.
So I didn't realize. Now I'm gonna have to go back and re-listen again, because I didn't realize that Claude had popped up before.
Well, Joe and Big South went to his. Remember when they went to hear John Legend perform? That was at Claude's birthday party.
Oh, okay. And see, we wouldn't be paying attention to that, right? Because of course, in Big South's book, we're focused on Joe and Big South and the foolery that is Esther and Bugs, not some random, right? Claude was like, who's Claude? I just thought, it was things like that. Because honestly, Alexandria, had you just made the daddy either we never found out or he was the bodyguard, like it would have been fine, right? We knew that South was not her father, but her father, yes, right? And we also knew that there were reasons aside from that for Ella to have for the toxicity in her relationship with Esther.
Yeah.
But when that came out, I was like, see, it's things like this, right? It's these little gems, because you didn't have to give us that. Yeah,
I knew a lot of people wanted to know, and I always knew that she would eventually find out, and that she wouldn't bring it up to Everett.
Mm.
Yeah, because she doesn't. Yeah,
Right.
she doesn't
Right.
say anything. Does he know? Do we know if Everett knows exactly who it is?
No, he doesn't know.
Okay.
Because if you recall, he when he was talking to Ella, he said, you know, they've always had this weird friendship. He didn't know that they slept together.
Yeah. He doesn't put it together.
Because why would you, right? I mean,
Right.
from the way you describe Claude,
He
no
just spoiled
one
everybody.
right would think, although, but you know what, it's like when alcohol gets involved and maybe some drugs gets involved and we're partying and we're, you know, free love and all this, body parts end up in different places.
I mean, that's that scene,
yes,
the rich and famous scene, you know, like I haven't watched the Quincy Jones documentary, but I've heard tell that he's talking about all these different folks that was Marlon Brando and everybody was
yes.
That's
That
what they
everybody
did.
was having sex with everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Basically. Now, wait a minute. So we need to go back to something, because HP, did you hear when A House said that she has fannied in other works?
When did you do that, ma'am?
Yeah, because you thought you was gonna slip that in and we was gonna keep going, didn't you? Oh no, ma'am. Oh no.
Everybody in their mama. Well, I was gonna say I fanned it because I kind of knew. I didn't know who I was gonna put Leland McLean with. I knew that he liked older women and it would be an older woman. But everybody in their mama thought it was gonna be Bridget.
Really?
Yeah, fair. No, I can see that. I can see that. Right? Because she would have fit. She was older, not as old, right, as his typical, but she's right there in proximity. You know, he's brother daddy Everett, right?
Yeah.
Constantly around. I could see that. I could definitely see people being like, oh yeah, that's a natural brothers dating sisters. Oh
yeah, and I might have done it had everybody in their mama not said it. But
interesting.
I was like, he not gonna, she ain't. I said, she going to Nolan.
Well, I'm glad you did, because I don't think, I mean, obviously if you would have wrote it, it would have been what it was, but reading along with it, and I think at the time that those were coming out and I was reading you, I don't think I was in any groups, so I don't even think I was on Facebook at the time, so I would not have heard that, but I definitely would have been like, well, what is this? Because I don't like this, because she does the way that you wrote her with Nolan. It was such a perfect match that it would have been like, well, I mean, you know, Kim and Leland, especially with the Armand connection, was, to me, and you know, with the benefit of hindsight, just a better story. But I'm sure, you know, you would have knocked it out of the park. But I'm glad that you went the way you went, because I would have been like, well, wait a minute now, how are we gonna? Yeah,
there was some people, they were kind of upset. Well, I thought you were gonna put it with Bridget. I ain't never said that.
It's like, and who told you to expect that?
Right. So now I have a question, because as you talk about, and we've heard that Jones speak about it, and some other authors that we've spoken to, how do you deal with, because the Black indie romance scene is very vocal, it's very tight-knit, and it is a little town in a big city. So even though there are thousands and thousands and thousands of readers, there are maybe somewhere between, like, I would say about 2,500 like hyper vocal, 30 books a week, this how I spend my time kind of people. How do you deal with them, number one, having so much access to you through social media, and how do you deal with folks who are like really vocal but not necessarily in a constructive way? Is the way I'll say it. How do you deal with that without necessarily like alienating your fan base, but then also being true to yourself?
I just try to give myself some time. And I probably spend way too much time on social media, because honest to goodness, I really do love my readers. I absolutely adore them. I'm very appreciative. And it's fun. It's fun to get up there and just say something all out the box and see the reaction. My most fun is to put an Esther Reach post up.
Ciao.
And my daughter says, stop triggering them.
Yes. Sending blood pressures through the roof.
Yeah. But I'm very, very protective of my energy. And if something negative is going on, I mean, everybody probably knows by now that I kind of just stay in my little corner and I don't bother nobody. I try not to be a part of any foolishness.
Mhm.
And if it comes to me, I'll ignore it or just get rid of it. So
Mhm.
I haven't had a lot of run-ins with any toxicity or anything like that. Um, and I don't know. I think sometimes I come off as a bitch and I'll be trying to.
Hmm.
And so I think a lot of people just don't try nothing with me.
They steer clear in
Yeah,
advance.
like,
Okay.
child.
I mean, I can be one. I can. I really can. But I try to be kind, you know. But if you get if you get down wrong, you just got down wrong. No.
So that's a blessing because I have not seen a lot of toxicity. I think I've seen people say like, oh, this wasn't her best, or it could have been a better book.
Oh yeah,
Or
I see
she
that
should,
stuff.
like that kind of stuff. Not necessarily like real tussling on the internet, which is a little bit ridiculous to
I
me.
see that
We're all
stuff, and
adults.
I'm human, and I'm not
Okay.
gonna sit up here and say it doesn't get to me. It does, but usually I'll be honest. Usually it bothers me in the beginning, like right after I've released it, because if you got, it's much easier for that stuff to stand out at, let's say, 25 reviews than
Yeah.
let's say 4,000.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they might be cussing me out over there on Audible for Big South. I'll never know it's 4,800 reviews. Ain't
Yeah.
no way,
Right. Right.
So or ratings, maybe not all reviews, but it's so much. I kind of fixate on it at the beginning,
Okay.
and then after a while, I'm like, oh, well, I lose it. I have ADHD anyway, so I lose interest. I'd be like, okay, well, I just look at the number and not the actual review. I
Mhm.
appreciate every review. I appreciate the negative ones because people buy off of it. They buy because
Yeah,
it's a
they
negative
do.
one.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
And I totally understand. If you bought my book and read it and didn't return it after you read the whole thing and stole it from me, then you have the right to leave whatever review you want to.
Mhm.
Mm.
You bought it. I appreciate you for buying it and giving it a try. If you didn't like it, you didn't like it. There's some very popular books that I don't like, that I can't
Mhm.
get past the first couple of
Yeah.
pages because my attention span is short. You have got to catch me quick.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And if you don't, it may be a great book. I'll never know.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it's not that there's anything wrong with the book. It's that my attention span is short. You got to catch me quick, So I take it personally at first because that's my baby, and I just put it out, and I worked like a dog to get it out, and I wore myself out. And I didn't pee, and I didn't eat,
Mhm.
and I put my all into it. And every emotion these folks felt, you're a writer, every emotion these folks felt, I felt. And Armand is mad. I'm mad all the time because he mad, and so. I mean, it takes a toll on you,
Yeah.
physically and mentally. So after you do all that work and put a book out and someone says 2 stars, and I don't, nobody's done this, but something comparable to this, 2 stars because they ain't like the nickname they gave the character on page 5.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm sitting here like, ma'am,
Yeah. Yeah.
all them words and that's you giving it 2 stars for that. I worked my
Mhm.
tail off writing this book.
Yeah.
So it can get frustrating, but I do understand that you can only bring yourself to a book.
Yeah.
That every book is not for everybody, and that's okay. I in personal and people being upset because I think they thought they were going to get another technical, maybe, I don't know. They were also upset about flagrant. I got a lot of flack about flagrant.
Why? I'm so happy you did Polo the way you did Polo because he
Yeah.
earned
Yeah.
it.
I mean,
They are
child, talk
hot.
about plot twist.
He
They're hot.
earned it.
They're hot about her cheating. They say, although they weren't together. About her
Listen,
cheating and getting
all
pregnant.
what that boy did to her all
Seriously.
that time.
Mhm.
That was some beautiful turnabout. It's fair play for your ass. I was like,
Listen.
woo,
That's why I said he had to be punished. He had to be,
Yes.
y'all. But
Child.
I have found that as Black women, and I ain't gonna say we because I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, probably too much sometimes. But Black women tend to be really hard on other Black women.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that man cheated for 11 whole years. Y'all.
Right.
Yes.
He
Yes.
went out one time when they were not together and had sex and got pregnant, and they just hot.
She
They are
made it
upset.
count, baby. She
Listen.
made it count.
I'm so glad that she did what she did and that it went how it went.
Mhm.
The juice
they-
was worth the squeeze.
Listen, they folks, I got a lot of folks that didn't like it, but it also has some of the most ratings on Amazon of most of my books. So
Yeah, because that's one of those twists, right? Where it's like
Absolutely.
you're like, did
Yeah.
she?
Right.
Oh
Well, you know
my
what?
God.
And the reason I liked it is because it takes courage to write that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I tried to change it. Y'all, I tried to because I said, "Oh, this is gonna be a mess. I know they're gonna get mad about this." And I tried, and it did not work. This is what it was, and I had beta readers that were about to cry.
Are you serious? Wow.
Yeah.
So it takes courage to me on the same level as Joan's threesome with EJ, Nettie, and
Listen,
Suzanne.
When I
she
read
my
that, I
hero.
said Joan is a whole ass writer in America today because
Yeah.
I would
She
have
my hero.
never had the courage to write that.
Yeah.
I'm still scared.
So the fact that you would write her having a quote unquote outside child, it takes like creative courage, and it takes you being willing to, like you're saying, upset your readers. And I think that that's important because you don't want to stifle your creativity for
I
ratings or
can.
reviews. Yeah.
I'll quit. I'm like I'll burn out and I will quit. And my attention span is too short. If I have to write 10,000 "Let Me Love Yous," which I absolutely love, "Let Me Love You," but I can't keep writing that over and over again.
Right.
If I do it, I will get tired of it and I will go do. Listen, I quit some nursing jobs. Baby, I would quit a job. So and I don't want to quit this because I absolutely love it. So I got to grow it and change and do some different things. I don't want to write the same story over and over again. I don't think I can write the same story over and over again. So
can I ask, kind of going back to one of the things that HP, I think you said this was one of the things that you really appreciated, because you would have never gone in this direction. Going back to Nolan and the reason behind his preference for the white women, right? And the fact that he was going for, that was just a comic relief point for me. The Slovakian motherfuckers. I just literally, that was a treat for me. The 2 or 3 times Big South said it, I just cackled. Like, it was like almost when you got to curse. Yeah, when you got to curse, when your parents weren't around, you felt liberated and empowered, and you also, you he about it. But like, because why didn't you? And I'm just curious. Again, you're picking one of you decided to take it in a direction when you could have literally just, he wanted women who, white women were his piece or whatever, right? It could have been, it didn't have to be this like sophisticated brothel European women, so they really didn't know. Where did that come from?
Child, crazy head of mine. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I always knew he preferred black women. I knew that. I just, so the story just popped into my head. Okay, he's going to a brothel and he's paying for these women. It's not relationships. It's the weirdest shit just popped into my head.
It was brilliant, though. It was brilliant, right? Because it allowed us to. I felt like it made it very easy for us to embrace and accept Nolan and Bridget, right? And take him at his word. And you're sitting here and you're like, okay, yeah, because your brother's famous, and you were just looking for the anonymity. Right, you were looking for the anonymity. Now, arguably, he took it to the next level because he would bring these women around his family, right? And, it's like, oh, every time we turn around, you got a new one, a new Svetlana. Her name's Svetlana too. Wasn't the last one's name Svetlana? But I agree with HP that was just one of those things where it just gave it an extra layer of something of interest, right? Because it's not the first book or the only book where you've got a man who's been dating outside his race, but he really loves black women. And how do we balance that? How do you make that palatable? How do you make it believable? And then the way he would just fumble with Bridget and just trip all over himself, bless his heart. It allowed us, I think, to readily embrace Nolan, where some of us might have gone into that like,
Yeah. Oh, I know better now. I am a black woman. I know better.
You're like, I don't know.
Yeah, it lets you forgive him, and it lets you say, well, if I was in his shoes and everybody was famous but me, and I never could tell who was for me and who was just trying to get close to them. What these white women don't care nothing about.
Yeah, they don't know who nobody is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That was fun. That was another fun one to write. I had a lot of fun with that one.
I found it interesting when you were saying, going back to Flagrant, how knowing that people were going to be upset about Kendra's outside baby and trying to change it, right? And just having to, you saying it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Have you had other instances where you've gone in a particular direction and for one reason or another, you've been like, this is not going to work, and you've pivoted? Or for the most part, once you set on your course, it's pretty much straight shot.
But yeah, for the most part, I mean, I wrote what I wrote. It is what it is.
Okay.
I knew that was gonna. I tried to. I didn't want it to be that, but that's what it was. Changing it just didn't make sense. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else? No, because I'm honestly I'm pretty fearless until I hit publish. For the most part, I'm pretty fearless. But that one, I knew. I just had a feeling. I said, this is probably not gonna go over well. And then the beta readers proved it.
Okay.
And I still couldn't change it. So in the end, I think it was the best decision to go with the story, to trust the story.
Oh, I agree. That was a jaw on the floor moment where I was like, wow.
Yeah.
But I was here for it.
I'm always satisfied. I'm so satisfied when I shock people. I'm like,
yeah, no, I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know she had that in her. And knowing that it wasn't, she didn't even do it out of spite, right? So it's like I reveled in it, but I didn't even fully luxuriate in it, because it wasn't like Kendra had like done it out of spite, right? It was the friendship and whatnot, and whoopsie, right? It was 9 months later.
That almost made it better to me that it wasn't out of spite.
That's
so
fair.
I was here for it, and I'm glad it happened, and I hope it happens 7 more times because he earned it.
And the thing is, everybody keeps saying it's just unbelievable, but I know of instances. I know
it's a thing. It goes down.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're getting close to the end. But we have a question that we haven't touched, and we need to spend 45 minutes on it. Please tell me where Leicester came from.
Leicester is a combination of my father, things that my father said, things that my brother has said, his friends, any man I have known, because I'm in the country. So any man that I have known, and I'm an observer. So I would sit up, even as a child, around the grown folks and just listen to them talk. And I've heard some crazy shit. I had an uncle that used to always, if you brought up any celebrity, they on dope. It's dope. You're like, what? And then when Michael Jackson passed, he said, I told y'all the nigga was on dope.
Well, I mean,
So yeah, here my daddy, it's mostly my daddy because he's hilarious. He's highly educated. He's a physician. But when he is not in his professional mode, my daddy be coming up with some stuff, and I just be like, huh? What are you talking about?
It's like you never know which way what's gonna come out his mouth.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know from your reading group that Daddy be rolling up with rabbit and all kind of other game for you.
Yeah,
50 dozen eggs from his chickens and
double yolk eggs. I'm like, Daddy, a whole hot dog. He's like, you a whole hot dog? You give me double yolk eggs?
Right. That is so funny. So my family is from Wilson, North Carolina, and then some are from Clinton. So this is like all in my family's wheelhouse because my grandfather was that way. So he passed last year, but he would just be saying anything. And we would be like, what's happening? Where did you hear that? Why are you putting it together? Why are you bringing it up now?
I mean, he be coming up with some stuff. And he gets to talking. We get on the phone. He gets to talking, and I just be sitting there like, Lord have mercy. I don't know what this man talking about. It's a combination of that and my imagination too, of course. But,
okay.
Sometimes I'm typing his lines, Unc's lines, and I'm just laughing the whole time.
Can you not? How can you not? Like, you're like, what? What did I
You know,
just type out?
then I
Right.
think to somebody, and they be like, "Something wrong with you."
So I have another question. Does Lunchmeat get a book?
He does.
Oh
was
yeah.
thinking- I was okay. Here's the scoop. I was thinking about putting him with Bridget Starter.
So that's what I was wondering. That's why I asked. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
I like
thinking
it.
about it. We gonna see. I will say that Lunchmeat is a kindergarten teacher,
Oh my
and
God, I already love him.
he's just a big old guy, but he's a kindergarten teacher. And I was thinking about having. I ain't gonna tell a story. Never mind. But yeah.
Well, we'll
I was-
see. If it go that way,
Yeah.
we'll take it. If we don't go that way, we'll take it too.
Exactly.
He'll definitely get a woman. Ginger was a little too fast for him, so I gotta give him somebody else.
So, and speaking of kind of, because circling back just to Unc for a second, because we talked about this when HP and I discussed it, that you gave him depth without like shouting it out, like, this man has depth, right, in these flashes, which I really appreciated how you did that, because he could have just been a punchline. But it is clear, and now hearing the inspiration for it makes sense, right? Because for all of the Bluetooth and the, put the groceries and, hit it with, you gotta do it with your socks on, and my stepfather used to say that, about do it with your socks on, and the click, all of that,
Little man in the boat.
Yes. It was a man, I think, both through the eyes of Lovey when she talked about, falling for him and things blossoming, but then also, Nolan saying he really stepped in and, helped their mom with them, that he was just more than this punchline. And I appreciated that, right?
He said, Uncle. There's a reason why he says all this stuff, and they just be like, okay, because they love it.
Right.
Well, what was going on with Aunt Eva and Uncle Wendell, child? I mean, you had to give Aunt Eva had her own little side situation going on while raising Leland and Cat. And so Bobby was an outside baby. I was just like, wow, you just like slipped that in there.
Yeah, look, that's real life stuff.
That is real life stuff. And I loved, Leland's relationship with Aunt Ever, and it's amazing how well Jacoby does an older Black woman, right? It's
like, my God.
You feel like you listening to somebody's great aunt or grandmother when he decides to do older Black woman.
He's so good at that. He's so good at that. And his portrayal of Unc sends me every time.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I'm hollering when he does Unc. So I'm real careful now. Now that I know I have the intentions of putting everything on audio. When I get to an Unc part, I say, this got to be from the male perspective, because I got to have, he got to, can't nobody do Unc with him. I'm sorry.
That is funny, because he does, he just gets it right. It's nothing nobody can do.
Yes.
He is ridiculous at interpreting. It's crazy, because when you work through a company, you don't get to talk to the narrators. So I didn't hear "Let Me Love You" until everybody else heard it. And when I heard it and heard how he interpreted it, I said, this man was in my head. He interprets things so perfectly. And now that I can communicate with him, and I do communicate with him, I don't tell him anything, because the man know what he's doing.
Right. Well, and for him he really is a phenomenal talent. And we mentioned it to Joan, but I haven't had occasion to reach out yet, but we would love to have him on the podcast. So now that we've spoken to both of y'all, I'm gonna slide in his DMs and be like, we know you're friends.
Right.
So you got to come on the podcast. But
Joan claims y'all are married, but that's an aside.
That's another story. But for him to go from the Black series all the way over to the McLeans, it's just like, you are not playing games, sir.
Listen, I told him and her, I said, I knew you could narrate. I knew that without a doubt. I was listening to my own stuff on repeat. But when I heard Black, I said, I ain't never heard him do this.
That was another level.
Yeah, I kept forgetting it was just him. I kept forgetting it.
Yes. And you know what, kind of going back to, because now that you say that, Alexandria, the way that he effortlessly, at least the way it sounds, right? In conversations between South and Leland, or South and Nolan, South and Neil, and Neil and Nolan. Like, I am, as the listener, he is perfection at that, right? Like, you feel as if you are observing a conversation between two different people, not the same individual who is voicing these different characters, right? And it's just the inflection, the pitch. It's a little difference here. Wesley is, Anna Denverley, actually, I think Manny too. They're all excellent at that, where you really feel like you are watching 2 or 3 people have a conversation, as opposed to one person trying to convince you it's 2 or 3 different people.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I believe I sent him a message after I listened to Albert. Albert's my favorite. Everybody knows that's my husband.
Yes, we know.
We know.
We know, Mayor. We know.
I'm fine because I'm a Lou girl, so I'm all right.
Okay. I mean, Lou is sexy too, though. But after I listened to Albert, I said, listen, sir. I legit kept forgetting it was just you. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never heard anything like this before. It's just the combination of her talent and his talent is ridiculous.
Yes,
it's outrageous.
It's
and
magic.
He gets it right. Like, it's not even like he forgets who he's supposed to be. Every time it's time to be somebody else, it is the exact same intonation, the exact same. And I'm like, you showed up to do this job.
Yes.
Okay.
But at this point, he's been on for some years.
Yes.
But he gets it right every time he does it. He'll get to narrator and send me a note and be like, Unc returns.
Well, you said, and we both agree with you, right? That his talent and Joan's talent together is magic. The same must be said of your masterpieces, because what you have put together, and the narrators that you've chosen, Jacobia, Denrelay, Wesley, Manny, Winston, like, you have chosen excellent narrators that have brought your creations to life. But they can only do, right, what they can only do what they can do, and they have to be equipped with the art in order to bring it to life. And you have delivered, like, it just out the park each and every time.
Thank you.
So I wanted to make sure that I, for the squeeing, if the squeeing did not cue you in to the fact that I'm a huge fan of my New Edition reference, just wanted to be explicit about it. Huge fan. And what you do is so much more than just, stories. Right. I mean, you have, my goodness, you've brought these people to life. All of the McClane men, all of your men actually have multiple wives across, right? Because all of these women that are routinely claiming them, and the passion with which people fight over between Neil and Nolan or Leland. And, that comes from you giving us these incredible journeys, right? To experience that we just keep going back to over and over and over again. So I am, we said this last week, that thrilled for people like yourself who are able to live from their art, because it is richly deserved. What you've given us, you should be able to live off of what you've given us.
Well, I love it. I absolutely love creating stories. I love it so much. I can't think of anything I would love more other than these knuckleheads I gave birth to. That's about it.
I hear that.
It shows, though.
It
like
shows.
Adrian is saying, it shows that you enjoy it. It shows that you that you love your characters, and that you. It's always, I don't know. So I think we were saying when we talked about the McClanes that they are a comfort read for us. And I actually heard somebody, read somebody on Facebook saying that it is, it's their reset series. So when they finish somebody else's book, or if they have a book hangover or a cliffhanger or whatever, they know they can come back to the McLeans. And for some people, it's, you know, for me, it's Believe in Me with Renee and Zoe. It don't matter what I read, I can come back to them, and we just are together. They love me and I love them. But the way that I guess the reader can tell how you feel about the character. And I think that's a rare thing, because sometimes you can read from someone and it's a quality story, but the feeling is not there. But like, I get the feeling that these people are your cousins, you know, like
they're real. To me, they're real. They come to me as real people and talk. And I am a very empathic person, and which is a good thing and a bad thing. And so I really do feel everything that I put on the page. I feel every bit of it. So I think that adds to their humanity.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm putting real emotion into what I write. You know, I'm trying to think of one I was writing that I was just like sitting up there about to cry. And I can't remember which one it was. I usually don't get that emotional where I'm about to cry when something happens. It might have been Armand. I believe it was when Armand showed up and he put his arms out to her. Yeah. That one hit me. And I was like, this poor thing broken, Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
So
that was a moment in the book for me too, because he was like, I just need you to do what you do. I need you to get me out of this headspace, take me somewhere safe. I ain't run nobody off the road. I ain't beat nobody ass. I came here.
And then I need you to take care of me when it's over.
Bake me some cookies, baby.
Okay. So I'll make one request before we wrap up, and thank you so much for your time. I need to see Armand and Ella again. So here's the plan.
Oh Lord.
Ma'am, please, let's
I'm helping.
No, please. Hold. What about
is that what they call it?
Exactly. Before you go, tell us a little bit more about Audio in Black.
Oh yeah, please. I had that written down.
That's me and Jones' baby we had together. It is a platform where we showcase and celebrate Black authors, Black audiobooks, Black narrators, Black podcasts, and we even spotlight an ebook a month. And I believe we spotlighted Honesty Price's book.
Yes.
Wait a minute, let me
My
get
ball and
that.
chain.
Well, we have a different spotlight now, but you can go to the Spotlight archives and you will see that we spotlighted your ebook, your latest release.
Joan told you she was gonna do that, girl.
I thought she was lying.
Lord. Joan.
No,
make sure
because
you're
I
clear
didn't
on
know
who
it.
said that.
Wait, I got to find. Okay, wait, I'm gonna cut this out, but I'm gonna look on it and find it.
Okay,
and
but
right now your podcast is spotlighted.
Well, while she's doing that, that we knew. Remember, we knew that.
Yeah, because Joan's interview was up.
Yes. But so A House, what prompted you and Joan to say we're not just going to like highlight Black narrators in our groups. We're going to actually create a website, because that's a whole other level of investment of time, energy, effort.
Just honestly, frustration of audiobooks in our space not being recognized, not getting the recognition they deserve. I've said it before and I'll say it again, it's absolutely criminal that Jacoby has not been recognized for what he's done in the Black series. There's so many awesome, wonderful books by Black authors and Black narrators out here just grinding, and it seems like the industry at large pretends that they don't exist. So we said, okay, and it's partially that, and it's partially that it's very hard to navigate a space where there are millions of books, audiobooks. There are things that you'll miss if you don't. And so we just created a hub. And we have 15 different genres that we're showcasing. We have the new releases that we try to keep up with when new audiobooks come out, and we're posting. On our site we have books that are on Scribd, Audible, the author's website. It doesn't matter. If we find out about it, if we get the knowledge of it, we're going to share it. And the only caveat is that we want the narrators and the authors to be Black.
That's awesome.
I love it. I love it.
So it's been fun. It's been a fun project, and surprising the people, the people that were excited about it. I was surprised about it, but I'm glad.
We agree with y'all. We agree that not enough people know that how good Black narrators are, and how they really bring such life and honesty to projects by Black people, and that we supposed to read for us,
right?
Like it's for us by us, like the boys did from New York. So I think we were all excited to see it and continue to be excited to see it, especially because folks have said, as much as we love the names that we see often, there are other people out there that want to do more, want to be seen, want to get in the mix. And so to have the kind of platform where it's not just the author, but it's also the narrator getting the shine is like amazing.
Yeah. And it's not just one genre or two genres.
Right.
I really, if we think of some more, we'll add them too. And that's why it's continuing to, it's a dynamic website. It's not something that's just going to be stagnant.
Yeah.
Because, one of our reviewers said, "Are we doing poetry?" I said, "You know what? I was just thinking we need to add a poetry category." And I did. I got a poetry audiobook coming, so it didn't make any sense that it wasn't there,
Right.
So, but when you're starting something out, you can't think of everything.
Right.
So, but we're adding to it, and it's growing, and I think we have probably close to 500 books cataloged on the site now. And
that's phenomenal. That is phenomenal.
There is something for anybody: the children's, YA, erotica, romance, nonfiction, memoirs, horror. And Joan always says, I think like this because I read all those genres. I'll read horror. I'll listen to anything. So that's why I feel like it's important to include as many genres as possible. So it's audioandblack.com. I hope that your listeners will go visit and find their next favorite listen over there, or find something they may not have thought about listening to, or narrators or authors they'd never heard of. I'm finding that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your talent. We are going to, complete fans with no shame about it. And we are just excited for any and everything that you have coming next. And we will continue to shout it from the rooftops how much we enjoy your work. And just look forward to, what's on the horizon for you. You're doing big things.
I'm trying to tell you, but I thank you, and hopefully I'm taking a little piece of a break because I'm so tired.
Yes, that's important.
I did
very
this
important.
series. I think I did the Cyclones in like a year too, in a 12-month period.
Yeah,
and wrote Temper Me in the middle of it. So
you play too much. Go lay down.
Yes.
So I'm gonna take a little break. My child is probably, both of my children are gonna do something to me. Well, I have 3, but the 2 that think they run me. I'm gonna do something.
They think they're the
do
boss.
something to me if I don't to take a break and take some time out. But I do have a story playing in my head, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do act right.
Well, we will be here whenever. Number one, we absolutely want you to get your rest, but we will also be here waiting with bated breath for whatever you have next. And you can't see me, obviously, but since I made reference to the Any concert at the beginning, I'm going to end by saying I am throwing my proverbial panties on the stage for you right now, telling you I love you, offering to have your baby, and screaming at the top of my lungs.
I'm gonna take them and pocket them because Joan gonna get upset.
Well, Joan don't have to know, because what happens in the concert hall stays in the concert hall and backstage. But
Joan is kind of possessive. She's kind of possessive.
She don't have to know. She don't have to know. You can go back to her. I know my place.
She my literary wife.
I'm here for it.
I know my place. I'm not trying to marry you. I'm just trying to have one night in paradise.
When she hit it, you know what's gonna happen.
She gonna be right in your DMs, and I'm gonna be
Guess
standing there
what?
watching you get beat.
She
I'm
gonna
ready.
break up with her. She gonna break up with her in that group.
It's
Guess
true. She gonna do
what?
both, probably.
She can break up with me. I don't go nowhere. I will queue up my Jennifer Holiday meme. I'm not going. Okay, Joan knows what time it is over in these parts. Okay.
Oh, she is so crazy.
She
I
is.
love it though.
Yes. Y'all are a trip. Have a good evening.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.